Wonderful. Thanks, Ron. And yes, your statement was correct. And before I get started, I think I would be hard pressed to beat Martin's unicorn and rainbow slide, but but anyways. So my name is Matt Coten. Excited to be here today and to share a little bit about our company, Cloudbrink. And during my presentation, I'm going to get into a little bit about what we mean by this automated moving target defense. And just to give you a little bit about my background too, is I've been with Cloudbrink for a little over a year now, and my entire career, I've built my career around remote access technologies and started working with VPN products in the mid 90s. And so I'm very excited to be with Cloudbrink now and to share with you their new technology. Just to give you a little bit of background about Cloudbrink and our company and where we come from. So we are, as we say, a remote access solution for the global work from home and hybrid workforce. We're a Silicon Valley startup that started in 2019, and towards the end of 2022, we came out of stealth mode and got our Series A funding. We had $25 million of Series A funding, and our company executives and founders are led by their former executives at companies like Citrix and Pulse Secure, Aruba Networks, and Nutanix. So that's just a little bit about Cloudbrink and where we come from. So I'm going to start off and just start off with a question to ask you all. Again, you don't have to necessarily answer out loud or anything, but just think about this is where are you in this journey right now? And most companies fall somewhere along this bell curve, essentially, on where their remote employees or contractors or whatever are working from these days. So we're a next evolution remote access solution, and we're designed for the hybrid and remote worker. And what we've really done is we've shed a lot of the baggage of the legacy tech debt and architectures that you saw in older products, and we've built an intelligent and highly secure remote access solution that no longer makes security and performance mutually exclusive. Basically, what this means is that for a user's home experience, we'll mimic that in-office-like experience when working remote. When we think of basically what makes Cloudbrink unique, we kind of break our solution down into three pillars. And so we've got our performance per pillar, we have the security pillar, and then the visibility pillar. And so on this slide, I'm going to spend some time to kind of talk about how we take care of the performance side of the house. So to start off, we're a 100% software-defined WAN infrastructure that's based in the cloud, and we're completely software-based. There's no hardware in our solution. Our edges that we deploy, we refer to these as a fast edge, and these edges are very ephemeral in nature, meaning they can be quickly spun up or torn down in any cloud infrastructure. So we've partnered with all the major tier one cloud providers. So we have presence in AWS, Azure, and GCP, as well as a lot of smaller tier two providers in different areas of the world where we might just not be able to get an edge in a location that's close to a user on one of the big three. With our edge coverage and because of our flexibility on how we deploy these edges, we can get these edges anywhere from 5 to 20 milliseconds away for about 80% of the population of the world. And so really what that means is that we can get these edges close to where the users are sitting so that they get this highly performant connection. In addition to these fast edges that we deploy, we also have a lightweight connector that we can deploy as well, which you would deploy in any location that's sitting behind a firewall, either like in a private data center or a private cloud. And basically this lightweight connector just gets deployed on any hypervisor. We also have an IPsec gateway that we can establish from our edge to a router or a firewall if you're unable to deploy a connector on a hypervised environment. And then basically this connector functions as a termination point in your environment to provide access to those internal resources as well that might be sitting on a domain or a local subnet or through a host address or something to the effect of that. All this is done through a lightweight application that we install on the device. So whether it's Windows, Mac, Linux, iOS, Android, we don't care. We can deploy that lightweight app on that device and then connect you into the solution. But really how we get to that highly performant solution is we do this via a couple of different ways. So if you think about a connection where you've got first mile, mid mile, and last mile, in the last mile is really where our bread and butter is, and where what we do in this last mile is we create an overlay network that gets applied when that session is created. And what that overlay network is doing is it's evaluating your entire solution. It's looking at your device. It's looking at your connection to the equipment that's sitting in your home network. It's looking at your ISP. It's also doing things like packet piggybacking, packet deduplication, forward error correction. We're doing some caching at the local edge. We're modifying the Windows file size. We're doing close to 60 to 70 different checks in this overlay network. And really what this is optimized to do is to reduce loss. And so in most cases, we can reduce that loss down to nothing. And so if you think about all the things that contribute to loss, whether it's in the form of packet loss, latency or jitter, that overlay network is designed to reduce that loss down to as close to zero as possible to essentially clean up that solution. And the cool part about it too is if you think about the average remote user that's working from their home office, they're experiencing usually about 1 to 2% of loss on average. However, in areas of the world where loss might be higher, if you're sitting in the 5 to 10% range, as loss ramps up, our product actually becomes more efficient and actually has a better impact on that user's experience. In addition to that overlay network that we apply in the last mile, we're also doing mid-mile optimization as well. And it's because of this relationship we have with the tier 1 cloud providers, we're essentially piggybacking on those HOV lanes of the internet that we like to refer to them as. And we are actually traversing those private circuits that are utilized for the cloud traffic through those tier 1 providers. And we're able to optimize or to utilize those lanes of traffic to enhance that mid-mile optimization. And this is how we're able to overcome all the things that are applying to your connection and adding to loss to increase that connection speed and give you that near line rate speed that you're accustomed to having now working from home on high speed connections like 1 gig and half a gig type connections. And the result of all of this is it ends up being a very cost-effective solution that doesn't compromise on performance or security, and it offers a significant improvement over your currently deployed and traditional remote access solutions. And when it comes to those applications and services that you're accessing, we don't care where it sits or what location it sits in. We'll be able to provide access to those things. And so that kind of covers the performance side of the house. And now I'm going to get into the security side of our solution and really focus a little bit on that very first slide where I mentioned that automated moving target defense and really what that means. And so, automated moving target defense technology, or AMTD, is based on the basic premise taken from a military strategy that a moving target is harder to hit than a stationary one. And the AMTD uses strategies that orchestrate movement or changes in the IT environment across the attack surface to increase uncertainty and complexity for those attackers. And the way that we do that is we have a couple of very unique things that's unique to Cloudbrink that really no one else in the industry is doing at this point. And so first of all, we're doing rotational, mutually authenticated TLS connections at the transport layer for every device that connects into the solution. So we're validating that certificate from the device all the way to the server at the end, wherever that resource or that application resides. In addition to that, TLS is the latest and the most secure protocol for internet encryption today. And it ensures that the data transmitted is protected from eavesdropping and tampering. And that's really what utilizing the TLS 1.3, mutually authenticated TLS 1.3 is providing. In addition to that, and this is another major differentiator for us, is that if you think about how existing solutions are deployed, where typically you have a certificate that's cut from your CA, that certificate gets applied to the solution, and then every device that connects in gets assigned and utilizes that certificate. And basically those certs are usually valid for a year or more. The way that we help overcome that is we maintain and manage our own PKI infrastructure. And what we do is we assign a unique certificate for every single device that connects in, and we rotate that certificate every 8 hours. So when you compare that to an existing solution that's using one cert for all devices for a year or more, we're assigning a unique cert per device and rotating it 3 times a day. And so that drastically reduces that attack surface and makes it very difficult to compromise those digital certs on those devices. recently we added firewall as a service integration into our product. So now you can utilize the solution to kind of function as a firewall would, where you can create policy and access control lists based upon port and protocol. And then to add to the security stack, we're also, we've integrated with all the SAML 2 providers that are out there to provide that multi-factor authentication on the front end. So we integrate with services like Okta and Duo and Azure AD. We're also performing host checking on the devices as well when they come in. And so basically, not only are we validating the user through authentication, but we're validating the devices through that host checking. And we're taking this least privilege approach through our ZTNA solution to basically minimize basically the access that each user has. It's all controlled by policy through basically role-based access control. And then when you combine all of those things that I just talked about with the rotating certs, the mutual authenticated TLS 1.3, the firewall as a service integration, SAML 2.0 integration for the authentication, and doing the host checking, this is how we provide a highly secure solution and how we get to that automated moving target defense technology that we mentioned before. And so again, providing a very secure solution for all of your users and devices that are connecting in. So on this graph right here, this just kind of illustrates something. So as you can see here, we've marked, you can see marked improvements in these code check-ins. And this basically equates to hours of productivity that's saved that was previously wasted. And so our solution demonstrates like kind of how advanced the technology can not only solve immediate problems, but also drive business growth and innovation. And so this has led to massive cost savings and reducing the amount of products that are needed, as well as the technical challenge that exists with managing multiple solutions today. And really where this slide comes from is at the beginning of the pandemic, a major media and entertainment company that is one of our customers, were facing significant challenges that they just struggled to provide high performance and secure remote connectivity for their remote engineers, essentially. And so their existing solutions that they were using, they could not match the performance and security levels that they were used to in the office. And what this led to is this mismatch led to more than just tech issues, but it had a direct impact on their content release schedules and causing delays. And these delays weren't just minor or an inconvenience, they had real tangible effects on the company's bottom line. And it was a clear signal that the traditional ways were not working and they needed to find something new. And so what this data is they performed internal testing against all of these other vendor products that they had in their environment and performed a simple 100 meg upload and download of a file and recorded the times. And Cloudbrink beat every solution that was in the environment that they were currently using today. And so all these dots represent individual instances of the download. And so you see the dots spread through all out. This far left here where Cloudbrink is, those are all those dots combined into almost a solid line. And they were actually seeing a 30x increase in code check-in times compared to their existing solutions that they were utilizing. And so that's really what Cloudbrink aims to solve for our customers, is to provide a highly performant, highly secure solution, and then give them maximum visibility into their users. And so we control that all through an admin UI, through a tenant that we provision for each of our customers. And then basically your policy and your authentication and all those things are built through that admin UI. And we give you full visibility into all of your users on where they're logging in from based upon their IP geo lookup, as well as being able to see what they're accessing, what applications, what resources, and everything along the lines of that. And so that really sums up Cloudbrink and what we do and how we go about doing it. And so if you go to cloudbrink.com/Angelbeat, we actually have some information that you can get there, and we actually have a tool that you can download as well to help start the evaluation process. And the last thing too is that it's a very simple onboarding process. And if you're interested in having better or more in-depth conversations with us, we'd love to entertain those conversations. So back to you, Ron.
Thanks so much, Matt. It's great. I'm going to follow up with you, a gentleman, Roosevelt, who runs the IT for a major financial institution credit union down here on the East Coast, just said, oh, this is perfect. I want to learn more from Cloudbrink. That's why when we're putting together our agendas, we want to have a nice balance of the global leaders. We're going to hear from Bala now from Microsoft, some more established players like Checkpoint, as well as some innovative players like Cloudbrink. I thought it was especially revealing how their solution works across not just the desktop, not just the Mac OS, but also mobile devices, as so many of our mobile workforce, everyone can do pretty much anything on their phone now, but having that same control, compliance, performance, regardless of device, is another major factor, along with, as I referenced earlier, the office is now almost by default a remote work location because it's no longer a fixed desktop physical location, which is why you need the tools offered by Cloudbrink. Great stuff. And I'm glad it resonated with Roosevelt, and I'm sure many others.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate your time.